Hi everyone, just another fairly quick lesson for today. Lesson 6 in your textbook if you're following along, page 138. We're going to look at measuring volume in cubic centimeters. This is a lesson I really like doing in class because we get to get hands-on and build some stuff, but we're not in class. So we'll have to make do with paper unless you've got a stash of centimeter cubes at home. So when we're dealing with volume, okay, we usually use centimeter cubes to help us out. Okay, so those little blocks, little cubes that have 1 centimeter on each side, they snap together. So if I actually label the dimensions of this little centimeter cube, we can prove that it's our basis for measurement. So we have 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. That turns into volume because how we calculate volume is volume equals length times width times height. That's the formula that we can use. So to prove that this is 1 centimeter cubed and the basis of our measure, I take the length of 1, the width of 1, and the height of still 1. Okay, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1 centimeter. And I have 3 centimeters here. That's a good way to remember that this is cubed, or 3, a little 3 up top. So that's going to be our starting unit. Because the length of each side is 1, it's going to be 1 centimeter cubed. Basically, we're just going to build a bunch of shapes now, and we're going to calculate the volume in centimeters cubed. So for example, if I just do a quick little sketch here, okay, and I say, all right, what's the volume of that little shape? Okay, so I know the height here is 1. I'm going to say the width, we'll say that's 2. So that's height, that's length. So then we're going back here. This is 1. Okay, so my formula, length times width times height. Again, it doesn't really matter what order, kind of whatever you think is best. So I've got 1 times 2 times 1. So the volume for this shape is 2 centimeters cubed. Okay. Hopefully you figured out that there is a bit of a shortcut for certain shapes. I can just count 1, 2. That gives me a volume of 2 centimeters cubed. I can draw one more shape here, and then we'll get on to some more complicated examples. Okay, being able to draw in 3D helps for sure, but it's not the be-all end-all. Okay, so we have another shape here. I want to figure out what the volume is. Okay, so I'm going to write down my formula, length times width times height. If I were you, I would label your shapes for sure. So we've got 2 centimeters here, 1, 2, 3 centimeters here, and it's 1 going back. Okay, so I'm going to have, well, this is definitely not my length, so I'll go 3 centimeters times 1 centimeter times 2 centimeters, which gives me 3 times 1 times 2 is 6 centimeters cubed. Okay, if you forget that cubed part, it's wrong. The measurement of volume is not 6 centimeters, it's 6 centimeters cubed. With a shape like this, it's nice and easy to check. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters cubed. Done deal. Okay, that's the baseline. So we're going to jump to a couple of, or 5 examples that I drew a little bit earlier. Okay, as you can see here, it can take a little bit of visualizing to figure out how many cubic centimeters or how many little blocks make up this shape. So if you have a little bit of difficulty with the visualization, make sure you pay close attention, take your time. If you are really good at visualizing things, this is going to be a really easy lesson for you. Okay, so for this one, again, I'm going to start by labeling. So it's 2 up, 2 for my height, 2 for my width or length, and also 2 over here. Okay, write out my formula, length times width times height. Alright, 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to give me 6 centimeters cubed. Not 6 centimeters cubed, what am I talking about? 8 centimeters cubed. See, teachers make mistakes too. What I did was I added them all up. I didn't actually multiply. So make sure you multiply. Next one, same thing, length times width times height. Okay, so we got our height here. This is going to be 3 blocks. Our width here is going to be 3 blocks. And our depth here, our width is 2 blocks. So my volume is 3 centimeters times 2 centimeters times 3 centimeters, which is equal to, got to remember to multiply this time. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18 centimeters cubed. Okay. For this one, we'll draw a line here just so I don't get mixed up later on. If you count it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. What you don't want to do is, so 9 in the front, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's not counting what you see. It's counting how many blocks make up the entire shape. Okay, so you have to be really, really careful with this, right? So if there's a layer of 9 here, there's a layer of 9 on the back. So 9 plus 9 is 18. Same thing with this one. There's 4 in the front. There's 4 in the back, so you add it up to 8. Okay, last one in this first row here. So I've got a height of 2. It's got to be pretty tiny. Width of 4. Notice how I'm including my units. Trying to remember. Volume equals length times width times height. It's repetitive, but it gets it in your head. 4 times 3 times 2. I'm just skipping the units there because I'm running out of space. Okay, which is equal to, okay, 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24 centimeters cubed. Alright, again, if you want to check, so it's 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 3 rows of 8, which gives me 24 centimeters cubed. Alright, now we got a funky shape. So there's a couple different ways you can do a shape like this because you cannot go straight to a formula. It will not work. So I can count them all. That's the easiest way for most of you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 in the front here. There's 7 in the back, which gives me 7 plus 7, which is 14 centimeters cubed. Okay, that's probably your best bet for doing a shape like this for right now. If you want to get fancy with it, I'll show you what to do. If you don't want to get fancy, just plug your ears for a minute. Okay, I'm going to split this shape into 2. So I have a 1 by 2 by 2. So I'm going to find the volume of this top piece first. Volume equals length times width times height. 1 times 2 times 2. So the volume of the top is 4 centimeters cubed. And I'm going to find the volume of the bottom. So it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Volume equals length times width times height. So I had 1 by 5 by 2. So the volume of this bottom section is 10 centimeters cubed. Add them together, gives me a volume of 14 centimeters cubed. I know I went through that fast. Most of you for right now are going to just count. It's way easier. And if we had the centimeters cubes, and if you have, you can use Lego if you want. to represent stuff like this. If you have the physical object, it's a lot easier to pay attention, not pay attention to understand, to learn it faster. But we're stuck using paper. So this is going to be your best bet. Count them up. Okay, if you want to get fancy later on with some bigger shapes, you can break your one shape up into two shapes like I did and do the actual math. All right, last one here. We got a height of 3, width or a length of 4, and width of 1. V equals L times W times H, which is 4 cm times 1 cm times 3 cm. 4 times 1 is 1, times 3 is 12 centimeters cubed for my final one. All right, so that's it. Okay. Please remember to use centimeters cubed for doing volume, for counting your cubes. Centimeters cubed, so it's that little 3. Remember, if you were doing the formula, use your loopy L, remember, because if we have a normal L like that, if you do a lowercase l, that looks just like a 1. And if you do an uppercase L, it looks like the liters symbol for measuring a different kind of volume. We'll get to that right away. Okay. So, I know that looks like a lot of scribbles. I'm looking at my screen now and realizing how crazy that looks. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, fire them off to me as soon as you can. What I would like you to do first is on page 140, try numbers 1, 2, 3, and 6. Get those done. Do not submit them after you've checked if you're right or wrong. Then I will include a worksheet for you to try, and you can submit that worksheet for marks for assessment. So, hope that all makes sense. We will talk to you next time.